to ask the question. Okay?
Good evening, everybody. Just want to say thanks again for coming out and being part of this process. It's important that we get the community involvement, and thanks again to the commissions and PD and the city clerk for putting this together. My name is Brian Park. I'm the current acting fire chief with the fire department. I met some of you already at the previous meetings. This is meeting 4? Yeah. Meeting 4.
What's the first community meeting?
Okay. Yeah, the commissions have met. We've gone through extensive research. We've had PowerPoints, we've had presentations, and we've built upon every meeting with, we provided information, we've got questions, and we've come back with the answers to those questions. And so being this is a continuation of that, we're just gonna address first off some of the questions posed at the last meeting. One of our fire investigators is going to give a short presentation, and then we're going to give opportunities from the questions to point that haven't been answered from anyone in the audience or any of the commission members. So just to touch on that, the one question from the commission that wasn't answered last time, we didn't have the facts. We had an entire analysis of the fireworks across the country, but a specific question was asked, if you recall, about injuries, and it was the number that we came back with was from 2021 to 2016. They asked about numbers of deaths per year caused by fireworks, and the average is 7 deaths per year. We have that broken down by every year up to that point. I won't get into the weeds on that, but that was the question specifically asked. All the other questions from the commission have been asked and answered, I believe. You have all those that information in your packets. The commission, I'm sorry. And then Barbara, I'm not sure what other information would be available other than the agenda. Okay. Okay. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. One of our investigators is here to give a short presentation. Bear with him. He just had wrist surgery yesterday, so he's going to do his best. We'll help him get through his presentation, and then we'll answer any other questions.
So my name is Kevin Stapleton. I've been with the fire department for 15 years, the last 10 years as a fire investigator. Over that span, we've tried a million things, but I've compiled a few pictures just to kind of show you guys what we're up against. If you guys do have any questions, feel free. So during the course of the 4th of July, we patrol maybe 4 or 5 days, and the times vary. But during patrol, we came across this house, and this shows a picture of just numerous illegal fireworks inside the garage. Normally when we do our patrol, a lot of the residents hide their fireworks inside the garage, close the garage, so obviously we don't see them. And then on the 4th of July, that kind of take them out a few at a time. This is the same garage, just another picture of illegal firework. This is a vehicle with the help of Rialto PD that we end up stopping, and they had tons and tons of fireworks. Where they got them from, I can't tell you, but and they won't tell you. But this is just to show how much and the lengths people go just to haul in the fireworks to Rialto. This is another one. This is a pretty good bus where they're still in the boxes. It's just almost $1 million worth of fireworks here. So this is us in Rialto PD, one of our stops. This is just another picture of it. So this was so Rialto police were doing an investigation, and during the course of their investigation, they came across fireworks. We were called out, and this is what we found. This was just a small load inside one of the bedrooms, and then this was in the garage. He wouldn't say where he got them from. We asked for receipts, but wouldn't give us. So you can just see, this wasn't the 4th of July either. This was a few months prior to the 4th of July, and the only thing he stated was he was getting ready for the 4th of July. So normally he gets them from out of state, and then he kind of just sells them to whoever wants them. So this is a fire in the north end of Rialto that we responded to. I was a firefighter along with the investigator that day. And it's just a small brush fire. Obviously, the backyard of this house is just full of weeds. And you can note that the fence for the adjacent home is damaged. So what occurred was the kids are home by themselves, the parents are gone, and they were out in the backyard in the middle of the brush with sparklers. And obviously they're doing the sparklers drop, which is just nothing but the fire. Caught the vegetation on fire. The kids end up running inside the house calling 911, and this was the outcome. So these were safe and sane. These were not illegal fireworks. And this was found. It was in the backyard. So this picture was taken in 14. So a lot of times when we're doing active patrol, like I stated before, very rare will you see a person have their entire package or all the fireworks in their front yard. A lot of times they hide them inside their vehicles, inside their garage. But so a lot of the busts we get are very small because obviously as we patrol, they get kind of smart too. So when I first started, people were doing fireworks in the street everywhere. And as the times evolve, now they move to the backyard because obviously they know that we patrol. And it's a little harder for us to apprehend when they're in the backyard. This was last year. So basically, as we're coming southbound, we noticed that the neighbor in the driveway were lighting fireworks. So we pretty much parked right here, waited till they were done, and all they did was 3 tubes nailed to a 2x4, and then they just light them off. So we have a container at one of our stations, and pretty much throughout the year, Rialto PD and us, this is our dump off site. So this is just the inside look of storage after 4th of July. Another picture. So you can see how many fireworks and how much we get, and even this is not even a dent until what's out there. This is just another picture. So you can see this is a truck bed. And basically with the bed up and all the fireworks laying down, as you drive by, as we would drive by, we wouldn't see them. So we kind of just waited around a corner till they did them. And then obviously as we approached, we noticed that the bed was full of fireworks. I believe this is inside somebody's vehicle. So they have numerous boxes of illegal fireworks that they just bought or were selling. This is another pretty good grab that Rialto PD and I, or Rialto PD and us, you can see they're not lighting all these, they're selling these. So this is in, I think, near Station 1 in our downtown area, and it was inside the garage. So we normally see this. So this is just a piece of plywood, and they pretty much nail all the tubes, and then they just dump all these inside, and then it's a pretty good show. So what we have here is just a Pepsi bottle, like a grocery bag, and then a wick. So basically what we do is we take the legal fireworks, because they don't go boom. So if we buy legal fireworks, we want to make them illegal. So we'll get the illegal fireworks, we'll cut them open to get the powder, dump the powder in the base, grab the fuse off the legal one, put it in the top, seal it off, light it, then you got a pretty good one. So if you guys ever wanted to make one, this is how you make it. And what we use is piccolo heat, safe and sane to make a bottle bomb. That's what they call bottle bombs. This here is all illegal fireworks. You notice that this is a bag. So basically you carry them around in a bag and we sell them. This is at the swap meet off Foothill. We were selling them inside the swap meet. So obviously when we're doing patrols, we kind of hit the parking lots. We talked to people, and they noted that they were selling them inside, or they got them from inside. So we kind of walked around and we noticed this.
Question. When they're so bold and brass to go inside a swap meet and sell them, do they know those are illegal fireworks that they're selling?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
And they're that bold to do it, huh?
Hey. To make $1. Yeah, these are these boxes and what's in them are not sold anywhere else. They're 100% illegal, and the people buying them know it. 100%.
What about the business itself that's allowing this to go on? It don't sound to me like that they're giving any oversight to what's being sold there. If they knowingly are condoning the selling of illegal fireworks like that they're probably breaking the law too.
Absolutely, I would agree.
Here, Don. I'm gonna ask you guys to speak into the mic where everyone can hear you.
So do they only get a fine for that?
I don't deal with that portion of it. So basically, on my end and our end, is we'll confiscate them, we'll cite them, and then we'll file it. What happens after that is up to the attorney and the judge.
So there's no punishment for it then? So
I
they're
didn't-
going to keep on doing it?
There is punishment, but what that punishment is, I don't know. So if it's a first-time offense, if they have no criminal history, that all weighs in. How much they were selling, what they sold, when they were selling it, that all plays a factor into what the outcome is.
So my question is, because it's the first hearing for the public, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is it that you guys are trying to do? Just to ban the fireworks, period? Due to, is it overtime for staff, or what is it?
Yes, sir. I apologize for not covering that at the beginning. This is, the task force has been meeting for several months, and so I apologize that everyone's not on the same page. We've been building on the meetings. So the intent of this task force originally was set to, I think anyone who lives in Rialto knows there's a huge impact on the 4th of July with, you know, the fires, with the damage, with the effect on our pets, the effect on our sleep, and the demands on city services. And so this body was put together at the direction of City Council last July to come up with some alternatives to reduce the negative impact of fireworks within the city. It wasn't a guiding body to say, let's get rid of fireworks, let's get rid of the booths, let's get rid of the show. It was, let's get the community involved, let's look at some ways we could reduce that impact on our families, on our service, on the costs, and so it was a comprehensive approach to do that. The outcome of that, we're going to rely on recommendations from the commissions to take back to City Council for some deliverables that are community guided. So our job was to provide a forum for that, to answer questions, to provide very detailed analysis, which we've been doing for the past several months, and so that's where we're at with it. And
Okay, so my question, I worked for the city of Bellflower, I've been there 30 years. My question is, if you guys are, everybody gonna do legal, they're gonna do stuff, we know that. My question is, if you guys are not telling the police department to go over there and investigate or to check into these illegal fireworks, they're gonna continue to do it.
So
my question is, why are you guys are not coordinating together to try to stop this? You say you filed it and you're done. No, it shouldn't be that way.
So that's not 100% accurate. We work very closely as a task force with the police department every year, and I'll let the corporal and the lieutenant speak to that themselves. But it's a very coordinated effort. What Kevin is saying, as a fire investigator, that's just not in his wheelhouse. He deals with the fireworks, and PD and code enforcement deal with that issue. Kevin's just saying he has no authority to write the business owner a citation. He's got the ability and authority to write a citation for the fireworks. And so it's two separate things, and he's certainly not indicating that we let it go. That's just not within his purview. We do work as a task force, but that's just not coming out of his ticket book. He writes citations to the safe and sane, or illegal firework portion of it. The other end of it is covered through a different mechanism, is all he was alluding to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but to me it's just not, if he's writing a report, I don't know why it's not going, his report going to the police department so they can check into.
No, it is. It is. That's just, he just doesn't cover that end of that report. They work together, they go together. He takes care of the fireworks citation, and PD or code enforcement takes care of the business owner. It's not dropped off. It's not a lack of coordination. It's just not within his purview. That's all. And if there's anything you want to add to that.
So it's basically a task force of police officers who are teamed up with fire investigators. So this has been going on for a number of years, since I've been here 25 years, probably the past 15 or so. Officers from our gang unit usually team up with the firefighters, and they go out and investigate the crimes together. So there is a police report generated, depending on what type of crime it is. And citations could be generated either by the fire department or by the officer that's out there. if that kind of makes sense. So it's a joint effort. It's basically kind of like a task force type thing. So the fire department is not out there on their own. They usually, well, I'm not sure how you guys did it last year, but in previous years, they've had an officer with them, teamed up, driving around in cars, trying to handle the fireworks calls or self-initiating activity when they see fireworks. If that, I hope I'm answering your question. It's a joint effort. It's not just the fire department, and it's not just the police department. We're there together, and the police department gets the data that the fire department gets, and vice versa.
My question kind of combines both of those issues that were just brought up. If and when the fire department's going out and find some of these things, as you alluded to before, there was a police officer there. Anytime it seems to me that a fire department finds illegals, fireworks, that the police should be brought in right then and there, investigate, check out the entire property, not just that little bit he may have found in a garage or a bedroom or this or that, and the man or the person should be arrested at that time. Not a citation, not letting them off the hook. We have to change the whole mindset here in this city as to how to best deal with the illegal fireworks. It's not by canceling the safe and sane, it's dealing more strictly or more harshly with the illegals.
I'm really glad you said that, because we do that. We write search warrants. Some of these cases right here were no doubt done by search warrants. Maybe we stopped them in the front yard with a little bit. Then we can create a nexus to the house. We have to freeze the house, write a search warrant, get a judge to sign it, and then we go in the house and get the rest of the fireworks. Now, a large seizure such as that is going to be an arrest. It's not going to be a citation. It's going to be an arrest.
It's illegal, it's illegal, man.
Now,
What we want to do, guys, we want to just speak in the mic, because I am recording this, and so we're going to get to everyone. Right now, I have the mic back here, so we're going to come around to everyone.
yeah.
And there's a challenge too with that. And I'm not saying I disagree with you one bit, sir. I'm saying once this does get into the court system, it turns into a whole new ballgame. These things get pleaded down, and sometimes, I'm not saying I disagree with you. These are recommendations we want to take back to our elected officials, and this is the feedback we're looking for. And we're not saying we disagree with you. It's what I'm saying is, once you see the totality of Kevin's presentation, it sounds a lot easier than it is. When you're talking about, sometimes it's like throwing a rock in an ocean when these guys are going around on the 4th of July trying to make a difference, and there are not enough resources to have at every single site. And so they are doing their best with the resources they have on the street to make that happen. Not everything categorizes as an arrest. The fines, we try to make enough so they make a difference, but then we have to deal with the courts. And so as much as I think we would agree with you in concept, it's not as simple as that sounds, and not everything warrants an arrest. Maury?
In your estimation, you've been dealing with this task force for quite a few months. In your estimation, if you got rid of safe and sane fireworks, what impact will that have on dealing with illegal fireworks?
So in my estimation, as I look at the data that we've shared, the data that we've covered, when you look at the cities around the county and around the state, there's a disparity between cities that permit safe and sane and that do not. That's just what the numbers show. In my estimation, in this city, I think from what we've seen, if we said tomorrow we're going to get rid of the booths, I don't know that that makes the impact that we would want to see. I think it needs a cultural shift through education, through working with our partnerships, that we have to look at, opportunities for, taking care of our nonprofits. There's no magic pill for this. That's one thing we've learned. And we've got data from departments up and down the state of California, and the one thing we've learned is that there's no magic pill. But community education needs to be something we do a much better job at. And working with the community is something we need to do a much better job at. And so I can't say if we got rid of Safe and Sane tomorrow that we're not going to have problems this 4th of July, because I don't know that that would be the case, and that's not what the data suggests. But the data does show that there's a difference between communities that permit it and communities that don't.
We have a question back here. We want to speak into the mic, please. So we would get round to you, but please let us speak into the mic.
I just want to give it a point of view from out here rather than being up there. I've lived in this community for 40 years, Kathy and I have. Both of us worked for the police department, Kathy for 31 years. And since 1984, one or both of us patrolled the streets of this city on the 4th of July in one capacity or another, all the way from a reserve officer or a non-sworn all the way up to a lieutenant. It has gotten to a tipping point with illegal fireworks. That's clear. It started out in the early 80s and the mid-80s as an annoyance, and the problem got worse and worse each year. And you can see it from the slide presentation that you're giving. If anybody in this room thinks that there isn't a coordination between law enforcement and fire services and the two public safety services, then they're wrong. There is. They're proactive, they do stings, they do all kinds of things to go out there and prevent these from coming into the city. But they come in. All you have to do is look up starting at dusk or before dusk on the 4th of July. There are thousands and thousands of 5-inch, 6-inch mortars. It's not the Piccolo Pete that disturbs my big dog. It's the 5-inch mortar that goes 600 feet to 1,000 feet in the air and shakes the shingles on my house. It is a fact in cities and areas where they don't have. If you drive up on the 210 freeway on the 4th of July where it's elevated and you look out over the West Valley, you will see in Rancho, you will see fewer skyrockets and fewer mortars than you'll see over here in the West Valley. Whether that's due to demographics, whether that's due to economy, or whether it's due to their regulations and those ordinances regarding the safe and sane fireworks, I don't know. But I think we need to give this group up here an opportunity to look at the problem from all sides and allow them to come to a reasonable and just solution for it. And I think that's where they're going. It's gone on for years, ladies and gentlemen. The community has not policed itself, and it's a time for the law enforcement and the fire services, especially that fire inspector up there, to have to police it for us. Thank you.
We have a question back.
Hi, I'm a 60-year Rialto resident, and I've seen the things change in this town a lot. And I think it's time we put these fireworks down. It's time. We need to get rid of them in this city. They're a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it costs too much.
Is anyone back here before I go up?
Hi, I'm Julie Garcia. I've been here for many years. A lot of the people in this city know who I am. And I've been very active in a lot of different organizations, from Pony League, not so much Pony, but Pop Warner. I've been the sports coordinator for the girls' cheerleading squads. But in all organizations, we all depend on this money to make a living on. But some of the questions, I have a whole list of questions that I'd love to get answers for. You made a comment about the injuries. That there were so many injuries, but the dates I was questioning how many injuries on a certain date to a certain date. Can you go back over that?
I'd have to have your specific questions.
Well, one of you guys made a comment on it.
Information to parse through. So
somebody said something about the injuries from date to date. I think you said 7 deaths between a certain date. That was my next question. Okay, that's you said a date and then you gave a number. And then my question was, were they legal or illegal?
And I think Midge, yeah, I see you back here. So at one point she asked a similar question with confiscations and how we parsed out the different calls, right? I believe, yeah, on the 27th, she asked about, is there a way to differentiate on safe and sane?
No, that was, I was asking.
I'm going backwards for 1 second. Give me a chance. And what I'm saying is, I'll get your answer if you give me a chance to go through the book of information, but I want to answer the question because it's similar. It's going back to your question, because I have it in advance, was that there's no way to differentiate those call types when they come in safe and sane versus illegal until you go back after the call. There's no keystroke to enter to parse out the difference there. Your question was, when we get the 911 calls, how to tell the difference? There's just not a reporting type from your question. So on your answer, I have every date broken. I have the different years broken down, so I'd have to go back through the years, do the math, and I'll get your answer before we leave. I have it here in front of me.
It's the illegal versus illegal is on the question that I want to answer.
I have that with
also, like knowing about these meetings, we found out about the meeting on Tuesday. Did everybody get that memo about on Tuesday? I mean, we all have lives and we all have things to do. I'm missing my baseball practice right now, but I thought this was important to make. 2 days' notice is really difficult to plan ahead of time. We need more information so that we can come and give you more information. So if you can give us more than a 2-day notice on meetings and dates and stuff, it would greatly be appreciated. Another one that I had a question was you said you write a report to the police department. When do they get it? When, do you write the report the day that you find the fireworks? And how long does it take for the police to get the report so they can respond to the issue?
So I'll give you guys, I'll walk you through, say, this case right here. So the police are doing a search warrant, or they were serving a search warrant, and in their discovery, they found the illegal fireworks. So they call it the fire side, because we're their expertise on the fire side. Simultaneously, working together, they did the police stuff, we did the fire stuff. The next day, we write the report, and we submit it to the district attorney. That's how we operate. For just fireworks, say just for the 4th of July, we'll write maybe 20 plus citations. So that takes time. So we have roughly a week to submit our report to the district attorney. And the same with Rialto PD. We all have a date by the district attorney. We meet with the district attorney prior to the 4th of July. They give us a date, and we write our citations based on that date. And we have roughly a week before we submit our reports to the district attorney. And then district attorney files them.
Okay, again, we're still, questioning a lot. I know that I need to have my booth work. I always, and you have the issue of the children starting the fire. Well, if they're using legal fireworks, where's the parent supervision? Why is that our fault? We didn't give those fireworks to those children. We didn't give them to them. They were left so the children could get to, and that's the parents' fault, not ours. We can't supervise what they do after they buy them. They have to be supervised. And it says right on the packaging, supervision. We have no control over what, somebody does with the fireworks. If they don't lock it up and keep it away from their children, we're the ones that are suffering for it because we're going to be shutting down the legal fireworks.
Ma'am? So to get back to your questions on statistics, and like I said, it was a broad question and you're dealing with a lot of years, but going with the most recent report that's filed by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, here's some statistics to review. 7.1 deaths per year is the average. Fireworks involved in 11,100 injuries in the U.S. And of those, the majority of them are burn injuries. They don't, in the emergency room, they don't have a way to differentiate between what caused it, safe and sane or not, right? So they don't say this was caused by a bottle rocket or this was caused by sparklers. There's over 1,000 burn calls a year that they do estimate are caused by sparklers, but they also report that there's approximately 25% of the injuries that happen aren't reported at all, or people don't go to the hospital, or people don't say anything, specifically if they're caused by illegal fireworks because they don't want to get in trouble. So those are some numbers. I had that whole packet. It's this thick. That's why I said give me a chance, because we reviewed it at the last meeting. But those are some of the numbers to cover. I can give you the entire packet, but those are just some of the highlights of that report. 31% of those injuries are kids 15 years or younger. And I can go on. Like I said, a lot of those are caused by bottle rockets. 1,000 a year caused by bottle rockets to children. And so, you know, those are obviously fit in one category versus the other. But as far as once they get to the emergency room and that 11,000 injuries per year, they don't check a box that says, was this caused by illegal or illegal? That's not a reporting factor that would be included in that report.
Stand up. I was at the last meeting, and I was asked by some of the council members if I could parse out some of my data as far as the costs and what we make in the booth each year. I have been selling since I think 2005 was my first year that I started helping with the booth, and through a couple different organizations. I've sent, I can't tell you how many kids to camp. I've provided instruments for kids, the camps and stuff like that. And I can stand up here and tell you all about that, but I'm going to ask my daughter to stand up. She's now 22 and a senior in college, and the camps that she was able to go to, the things she was able to do at the schools because the schools had money, is irreplaceable. There's no other way that I know of that we can just, not everyone's just going to get out their checkbook and write a check. We use this to send kids like her to camp, to buy well, she doesn't play the tuba, but we buy tubas for kids and violins and stuff like that. Scholarships. That's what this money is used for. It's not just, I've heard everything from, I mean, she sells fireworks in our booth now. I started this when she was 8. And I will tell you what, the first year she was able to sell, my sales went up. And the first year my son was able to sell, our sales went up more. How many council members do we have? I have 10 copies. Or commission, I'm, okay. Yeah, so I can hand these out real quick if you'd like to see those. They're kind of, how many were there? Here we are. There should be 4 pages. It covers 3 different years. For some reason, 2018 wasn't in my file that I had everything. But just going over real quick, we hear terms like, oh, I sold $40,000 worth of fireworks. That doesn't mean your school's getting $40,000. This year, I had a total of, give me 1 second, 19,000 plus 22,000. It's about $41,000. We cleared after invoicing for the fireworks, our sales tax, and our operational expenses. Our profit center gained $9,800.
Look what you made. Look what this cost the city.
I understand what you're saying, sir. I understand that. The costs that are going to the city are still. Okay. Oh, you're right. You're right. So the city, even if you ban fireworks tomorrow, is not going to be done with this problem. This problem is an enforcement and an education issue. And I don't know, I mean, I got my numbers here. I've heard it everything from families that save up all year to come to a booth so they can have a nice big barbecue and do the safe and sane fireworks. This isn't a question about safe and sane. This is illegal fireworks. And I don't know why in the last 20 years of me living here in California, illegal has just become a term that we don't care about. What we do care about, though, is the safe and sane fireworks that we've been selling for many years, and we've provided kids like, I mean, I was able to bring my daughter, and I don't know, do you have anything that you can add to what the benefits are? Oh yeah, you're recording. So, if anyone else wants numbers, I have a couple extra packages.
Yeah, so the numbers, I mean, obviously they are monetary and they are in that, but just the experience of being at the booth and of these booths that are selling, because it's not just, you know, band groups, it's not just that, it's disabled veterans, it's Boy Scout troops, it's baseball teams. It's not just these people who are out there for money. They're making it for their kids. This is for the community, for nonprofits. You're not allowed to do it if it's not a nonprofit. It is these places of the communities. It's not outside places, it's not anything. It is the city of Rialto that is doing this, and it's for them. And I mean, I know from my experience, I got a great job coming out of college because I have people skills, because I was able to do this with my family. I was able to go to camp. I was able to do these other things in my community that I think were made possible by the fireworks booth. And I mean, I remember, you know, as a kid, we were able to do fireworks. And yes, we would go to places, to other families' houses, and we'd have barbecues, and they were bonding experiences that, yeah, we were excited for the safe and sane. We never did illegal fireworks, and it would just be a shame to see those leave, because every year for us, that's a huge thing that we're able to get together and just reap the benefits and be together. You know, it's only a small portion of the year. These are not, they're only legal and only able to be done during this small portion. And, you know, it would be a shame.
Hey, Maury, did you have something? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Midge Supanik with the Rialto Chamber of Commerce and East Rialto Kiwanis Club. I have a question. On the fines that for instance, you had $1 million value on one of those that you confiscated. What was the fine on that? Can anyone tell me that?
So they're weighted on weight. So this one, where the weight is over a certain amount of pounds, it's a felony. So it's no citation, it's a felony, it's jail time.
Okay, so there's no fine?
Depending on the weight of the fireworks. So this one is a felony. Jail, it's jail time.
Okay.
The smaller ones are fines. And those fines range. And that's all dependent on what the DA, your history, how much, that's all out our hands. So once we submit, yes ma'am.
Yeah, even a felony, they can charge those people that they have to pay retribution and stuff, which could be a fine. My thought is that you get so much money, the city gets so much money in these fines or whatever, if you go by weight, if they're not felonies, but they get so much money in fines. If you don't want safe and sane, why not, and these nonprofits are going to lose out, why not take all those fines? I'm sure it's more than $250,000, which if you have 25 booths, that's $10,000 a booth. Nobody's out any money. You don't have to staff this booth. Give that money to these nonprofits. That's a way of you helping out the nonprofits. Give them the fines. If you are active in your fines and stuff, and you want to get rid of safe and sane, which we don't, then help us out. Give us the money.
I think that's a great suggestion, Midge, and that's the first one we've heard with trying to meet in the middle, with trying to make whole on the vendors and trying to reduce the problem at the same time. So thank you. We'll add that to the list to the commission to bring forward. Thank you. Maury.
Thank you. The Consumer Product Safety Commission, I have statistics here also.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to leave these with you. The one statistic that nobody seems to bother with is that as the usage of fireworks grows every year, the rate of accidents decline. There's graphs in here to show that. It's true. Can't deny the obvious. There's also graphs in here on ATVs and on toys. And as those industries grow, the amount of accidents and injuries grow with it. The fireworks companies have a lot of organizations that work extremely hard to make fireworks safe. And those are numbers that you have to pay attention to also. Another number is there are 295 communities in the state of California that sell fireworks. There are 49 states in the United States that allow the sale of fireworks. So the problem isn't just here in Rialto, and I don't see safe and sane as a problem. I see it as the answer to eliminating these illegal fireworks and doing more from the last couple of years. The state of California used to confiscate a lot of illegal fireworks. They gave up. They said they didn't have any money. You know, they'd have roadblocks. They'd watch for the stuff coming into the cities. You guys collect this stuff. What do you do with it? Nobody wants to help but take it off your hands. Okay. So what happens to the confiscated fireworks, the illegal stuff that you have, and how much do you pay just trying to store it? So there's a lot of issues other than the nonprofit groups obviously are here to support their cause, but I think that, you know, there's a lot of hysteria about fireworks, but when you really dig into the numbers, okay, it's really trending down in terms of injuries.
So there's a lot to unpack there. I'll try to take them one at a time. You put through a lot of information out. When you say they have given up, we haven't given up. We've collected over 10,000 pounds last year, not only in Rialto, but we do a joint task force at Yermo to try and keep them out of the county. And so we have not given up. I want to make that point clear. We still do active patrols, investigations, undercover operations. There has been nothing given up here. We've actually ramped up each year to try and address this problem. That's one. Two is that it doesn't cost us anything to store them. We store them in a safe storage lock container. The state fire marshal coordinates picking them up, and then they do a detonation on their own. That's not a cost to the city. So that's just two things I want to address that you brought up. And since I have you, you weren't here since we last met, but I wanted to respond to your questions from the last meeting because I wrote them down. You asked your first question, what sales tax did the city bring in? Last year was $6,500 to answer your first question. You also asked, I think you alluded to 4th of July is not your only problem. There's just a big issue on Halloween, New Year's, Labor Day. So we provided that data. This was the call count for 2018. On Labor Day of last year, we had 3 fire calls. On Halloween, we had 7 fire calls. On New Year's, we have 4 fire calls. And on the 4th of July, we have 43 fire calls. So there's a big disparity on the days of the celebration with fireworks, to respond to your question there. It was also asked about the Chino model, right? So to get back to you on that, so here's what we'll find out in Chino, and we provided a detailed report there, and the PD might have some, I know cameras are not here, but we've talked to Chino and Chino Hills. Chino permits safe and sane, Chino Hills does not. And what you'll see there is there's a big disparity, is what they report to us that Chino Hills is quiet and Chino isn't. And one has safe and sane, one doesn't. That's not my report, that's theirs. There's a big disparity there according to their numbers and to their people. And we provided a very thick report that we can make available to you at the last meeting. You also, Maury, asked about national statistics, and I don't have the information parsed out like you do. I was just providing the general question. And so what the National Fire Protection Agency reports is that on the 4th of July, more fires are reported than any other day of the year. On a typical 4th of July, fireworks account for 2 out of every fires that occur. And each year, fireworks cause an average of 1,300 structure fires, 300 vehicle fires, and nearly 17,000 other fires, resulting in those 11,000 injuries. Just to follow up on your questions from the previous meeting.
Hi. Have you asked TNT for an organizational impact report as far as the dollars that are made year over year by the organizations?
That's not something that I would have approached TNT on, no.
You probably need to at least look at it to see the impact of Safe and Sane to the organizations that are active within the city. Because if you take the route of thinking of banning Safe and Sane, you need to know the dollar impact that has across the board. There are a lot of organizations that there is no revenue stream in the city of Rialto to recoup that type of money. And you'll find that out. My other question is about Chino Hills. I understand how you drew your conclusion, but have you asked Chino Hills how they implemented their $10,000 fine and how they got to where they are today? Because it's not just banning safe and sane, it's about how they went about banning illegal and catching those people. So have you done that?
So once again, it wasn't my deduction. It was what they reported to us, and I got the report on the numbers. I didn't get the report on how they got there. That's not what they didn't provide that to us on a short time frame.
Will you be able to?
I can ask the question.
I think you need to find out how they achieved what they got. Because just saying, oh, this is what was done, got to layer it back.
We're talking about short time frames. We get a question, we have to come back with an answer the next week. And so, and we're talking about tasking other agencies to give us things, and the turnaround time just not practical.
Be able to tell you how they achieved it, at least, or
No, I agree. And we'll ask them. And we will, just like we've done every meeting. We've gone back, got the information, asked the questions.
Okay. And will you ask TNT for an impact report so you can at least see how TNT is involved in it?
That's something that the commission could ask for clarification on. Yes. Oh, what I'm being told is that information was provided at the last meeting. That they, not the one you were at, Midge.
The commissioners have it.
The commissioners have that information. Yes. Thank you.
I want to dispel one myth that some of us may have about fines. When a case goes to Superior Court and there's a fine, that fine gets parsed out so thin that a minuscule part of it is going to come back to this community, generally on how it's structured. If the fire department and the police department conduct an investigation and a person is fined, say, $3,000 because they're convicted on the felony side of what is the Health and Safety Code 12 something, when they're convicted of that, a very small part of that fine is going to find its way back here, and the rest of it's going to find its way into different courts, court funds, the state, the county, and everybody else gets a bite out of it. Restitution, though, is a completely different matter. And perhaps our city attorney would want to take a look at not only seeking convictions on the misdemeanor side at the maximum, I think, is 1,000 right now on the misdemeanor side, and whatever goes to state or superior court up to $10,000 in imprisonment, may look more toward restitution than fines and try to recoup some of that money that is going out of the city in terms of the incredible resources that we spend chasing Beirut every 4th of July.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sure.
So usually what happens with state fines is 15% of that comes back to the city of Rialto. But we're all assuming that the person, the violator, they're actually going to pay it. I've been doing this for a long time. Terry, you've been around for a long time. Not everybody pays their bills or their fines. So,
and we talked about that last meeting.
You can order restitution, and just because you order restitution, let's not think that that's going to get paid.
And so it's a financial loser, right? I want to be clear on that. There's no guesswork. What happens is I'm talking about the citations. So we submit a fine, right? $1,500, let's say. If they do show up to court to plead it down, they're going to end up walking out there paying $100, $200, because that's what happens. The court's dealing with felons and murderers, not firework cases, and that's what happens. By the time you mix in the overtime for enforcement, attorney fees for the city, we're way upside down on that equation. Barbara?
Yes, my question is, I know you're saying maybe costs for, having the extra police and fire. Why can't you do like we do when you're having an event in the city? We on 410s, we go back to 980, or we go back to the regular hours of the week, so you can cover that event, and then you won't be paying overtime and all that. Just redo their schedules like we do in the city of Bellflower. When you have special events, change the schedule.
We do.
Okay, okay.
Every year.
So it's right. It
We
shouldn't
do
cost
it-
as much. That's what.
No, we do that every year. We've
Okay.
trimmed it down.
On any event.
We played with the staffing model specific for the 4th because the 4th is a different animal than anything else.
Right.
And we have changed the staffing models. They have a specific staffing model they only employ on the leading up to the 4th and the 4th. Last year, the fire department used on-duty investigators, so there wasn't an overtime cost. And so, yeah, we absolutely do that.
I have a problem with our pets. Every 4th we go nowhere. Nowhere. 'Cause I just stay home and take care of our dogs. They're so petrified. And that just, I can't enjoy the 4th of July. I can't do nothing. And I know other neighbors are having the same problems. I see dogs running around the streets. I mean, it's just sad. It's sad.
And ma'am, that's why we're here. That's why we are here.
Yeah.
We're not here to say we want to take away the nonprofits. We're not here to say, we're here to say we have a problem. We have a problem with our pets. We have a problem with our safety. We have a problem with our damage. And we
Yeah.
want community input to fix it. That's why we're here.
It's really bad. Thank you.
So in the spirit of trying to find a median, I think that some of us have concluded or said that education is a part of our problem and that we need to implement a better education. Now this may be because I'm in a younger generation, but social media is such a big platform, as well as, you know, if you know that this is a problem, then the week leading up to it or other things like that, it can be send out mass I don't know, mass emails, mass something, hold classes, hold some form of education that can help those people that maybe the ones who are using the Safe and Sane to help them be safer, or to help acknowledge the fact that there are illegals and to make sure that they know they are illegal. I know obviously in the name, but you know, it was mentioned before that we kind of have stopped as a community caring about that word, and it is a very important word. And so that was just my question or my comment.
I will agree to agree. So we are partnering with Esri, who's the technology giant Redlands, to look at different platforms for reporting, for capturing the guilty. We're looking at those opportunities. We're putting together infomercials for the new theater. We're looking at different things we can do in the schools. So that is a big part of our push and what our planning cycle looks like right now. So thank you.
Hi, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. I know we have, is it Panthers group here? Where are you located at in your warehousing? No. Is there somebody representing Panther right now? Where is the warehouse? What city? Panther. Isn't it Panther? Phantom. Okay, Phantom. Where are they located at? Where's their warehouse? No, down here. There's got to be one here somewhere. Okay, I do know that the other group is on Locust. TNT is on Locust, and they have a big property up there. Is the city willing to lose property taxes? Because if they're not going to sell in the city of Rialto, why should they continue to be here? Everybody's looking at money. That's money. Property taxes that company pays, why should they be here in the city of Rialto if they're not going to be selling in the city of Rialto? It's money. It breaks down to money. They could move. They can take all of that warehousing and workers and those trucks and everything that they've got and take it somewhere else. So we, as a city, could be losing, other than fireworks, money.
I think you guys do an awesome job, to tell you that first, but I think we need to, I could give you 3 houses that I could have told you the last 10 years, same houses, do the same illegals. So I think we need more people in the city of Rialto to say more of what illegals going on, because that's the only way to stop it. They're going to keep doing it. They don't care if they get a $100 fine. They don't care, these people. They'll keep doing it, the illegals.
I will again agree to agree that we need more people to say things, and that will be part of our community outreach program. agree again.
A comment regarding that is last year I called the police department. This is 3 days prior to the 4th of July, to the house that was setting off illegals. When the police got there, they could not do anything because they did not observe anyone doing anything illegal at the time. And I think that is plain wrong. The only way this is going to be stopped is by people turning them in who see these people setting off illegals in their backyard. We know the house. In fact, anybody who's caught on a drone, a helicopter, or by being reported by a neighbor should be ticketed, at least ticketed right then, and have to appear to explain their actions, at least. I didn't observe it, there's nothing I can do, is a really wrong message sending around to the rest of us who want to see the end of illegal fireworks.
All right, this will be the last time I say it, but I'm going to agree again. Here's the thing with that. We are looking at ordinance changes. We were one of the first agencies in the state and still one of the only ones that has gone to the district attorney and got variances to utilize drone footage. And we use drone technology. We do drone surveillance. We are leveraging the technologies available. We're looking at partnering up, like I said, with ESRI and some of the other things to be able to create an app that's easy to use for the public. So you could take a picture of that, send it to us. We have to get ordinance changes, work with the district attorney and make that admissible. We are looking at all those options, and I appreciate you bringing that up, and we have the same frustrations.
Will our names be brought up to the other people if we were to tell them?
I'm going to let the police speak to that, but we are looking at certainly anonymous tip situation because, yeah, that's a police question, but our thought process on that is that there would be an ability, whether you're reporting a pothole or fireworks, or that you would have the option to do an anonymous tip. But again, I'm going to let the experts speak to that.
Well, certainly we would like to keep people anonymous whenever possible. But if we're talking maybe this turns into a felony or something like that, and it goes to a court trial, the accuser or the person that's being accused, he can confront witnesses. And so if you're a witness, obviously, it really depends on what we're arresting this person for. Now, if we get out there, and I apologize for what happened with whatever happened on your incident, but I think if you have evidence of illegal fireworks, and you have, see, this is where the witness comes in. You have evidence of illegal fireworks that they've been set off. We get there. There's the evidence is in the street, the wrappings, the whatever. And we get there and we see that, and we clearly identify whatever we found as a remnant of an illegal firework. Now, there's a couple different things that can happen. We're gonna have to talk to you and interview you. You're gonna point out who did it. And if we do arrest them, you're going to have to come testify.
Well, the biggest issue is they're in the backyard setting them off.
So, in an incident like what the gentleman just explained, that person's going to have to come forward to help us. They're going to have to be a witness because we didn't witness it, and we just can't put fireworks in anybody's hand.
Shut them down. We don't have this problem.
And again,
we don't put them in the air.
And again, to speak to your point, we will have the most comprehensive drone program that I know of in the state. We just certified 3 extra arson investigators. All 9 of our arson investigators will be certified drone operators, and we are trying to leverage every technology available to make up for the lack of resources. And so we agree.
I'm 13 years old, and I'm part of the Royal Rangers at Calvary Chapel, Rialto. I've been with the Royal Rangers since I was in kindergarten, and the fireworks booth has helped us go to camps, support the things that we need for our church, and actually the firework booth helped me send to a big camp where I was able to meet different people, different friends, and just enjoy my life as a my childhood life. And shutting down the firework booths wouldn't help me get to these places, and making money from these firework booths is very important to me.
Thank you.
If I may add, my name is Javier. I'm the commander chaplain at Royal Ranger Outpost 85 at Calvary Chapel, Rialto. This is my son. He's just earned his Gold Medal of Achievement, and I know that we already got recognition letters from the fire chief, which is a huge blessing. But in addition to him being able to make this camp that he talked about in Missouri, we've taken 30 to 40 boys every 4 years to this camp. Out of these 30 to 40 boys from every camp, we got 2 boys who are active in the Army, 1 active in Air Force, 2 active in college, 1 graduated, post office. They become productive members of the community, as if I could say that. They're servant leaders, and I think that's a great need that we have for these days. They're men of integrity. You know, just the blessings to be able to have the opportunity to do this. Prior to that, spinning our wheels and selling cookies and popcorns and bake sales, it's really hard to do when you have an outpost like this. I know that you mentioned numbers in regards to Halloween, New Year's, different holidays, Memorial weekends. Well, because of the revenue that's been produced from this firework booth, not only are we able to take Rangers to Missouri, he's visited 17 states in the western United States at age only 13 by that. The positive alternatives that we do is we do Hallelujah Night, an alternative for Halloween. We have the church picnics at the church where not just the church family is invited, but the surrounding community come and partake of an alternative to what's out there that is unsafe. So the fireworks, they are a blessing. I'm all for getting rid of illegals, and whatever we need to do to make that happen, I'm willing to partake of that. As if that's, Pastor said he'd go down there and speak on our behalf, and that's what I'm doing. So just wanted to give that input on our behalf. So again, thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations on your accomplishments. That's awesome, and thanks for coming.
I want you to know we are on your side as far as getting rid of the illegal ones. And I believe in my heart of hearts, you get rid of the ones that we're doing on the safe side, the booths are selling and so on, you're going to increase the illegal ones. I think you're wrong if you think it won't. Furthermore, I'm looking at this and listening to what's going on, and I'm saying these illegal fireworks, these big boomers, they're crossing city lines, county lines, state lines, and national lines. How come our Homeland Security and the state and the sheriff and so on, how come they're not getting resources from the state and the feds and so on to help in fighting this? And you ought to, when it's 2 months out from the 4th of July, that's when you really got to get your people in place to catch them in the act. I agree with you. You don't catch them, you can't do too much about it. But you ought to have enough resources, money out there from Homeland Security. Those things are dangerous, shooting them things off in them big booms. So I don't know what's going on that it's being allowed so long. But everything that you're doing, I agree with. And you're increasing what you can do with what you got. And I agree with that. And for that, I do thank you for. And all of the nonprofits that's using that money to good use, there's everybody together has a lot of programs, hundreds and thousands of programs that's helping literally thousands and thousands of children and people and seniors and veterans and so on. Our Kiwanis Club, we not only do scholarships for all the high schools in Rialto, we also go down for Easter. We're getting ready to do our Easter one down at the convalescent hospital just across from the senior center. And we do that every year. And we also go over at Christmas time with Santa Claus. And I got to tell you, these people are shut-ins. And they are so happy to see somebody come with an Easter or Christmas card and a little toy of some sort. And I tell you what, I played the Easter Bunny a number of years ago. Now, wait a minute. And it wasn't at a Rialto City, but it was nearby. It was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Sunday. I parked where to go in to put my suit on, where there was guest parking. Not one single car was there on a 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon at a convalescent hospital. It broke my heart. I couldn't believe that. And it was terrible. So all that these nonprofits are doing, God bless you, keep it up. And if they and they cannot replace the many thousands of hours that are dedicated to helping kids and children and needy families in Rialto.
And so, thank you for that. And that breaks my heart as well, having grandparents and having assisted care situations, and I appreciate that. But I want to be clear again: the mission of this whole task force was not driven to get rid of vendors and get rid of safe and sane fireworks. The mission was to come up with alternatives to reduce the impact on service to your dogs, to the damage of fireworks in this city. And that wasn't saying that, and I said it many times, I am not going to get up here and say, I don't think any one of us could, if we got rid of safe and sane, our problem would be fixed. What we did is provide the data, which is points in a certain direction, and what we've done is answer all the questions you've asked to give the commission an opportunity to put together a comprehensive plan to council with what might be help the vendors, what might be do something to reduce the safe and sane, might be more education, but the mission was not get rid of the vendors and get rid of safe and sane and take from the nonprofits. The mission was, we got a problem here, folks, and we need to fix it, and we need community input to do that through education, through training, through collaboration, through community input, and that's what we're here for. And that's what all the data has been about, and that's what these meetings have been for. So I want to be clear on that. That's the mission, okay? Barbara.
We're going to finish with the video, okay. And while Kevin is coming back, and I just want to echo what Chief just said. We are not here to do that. We are here to gather information, data, and we get information from the groups that is here, because we do have a problem. And as you have said that as well sitting here. So this is why we are here. If you have any suggestions, and if we need to have another meeting, we will. Do you think we need to have another meeting to get more information from the groups that is here? We will do that if that's what we need to do. But what we are doing now is collecting data, get information, some of the questions, some of the suggestions that some of you have made, commissions are taking that down. And we are collecting information. We are listening to people. We have a survey out that we have put on our website. It's on social media. It's on the fire departments, other PD's website. So it is out there just for the community, not just the nonprofits, but for the entire community to have some input on what other suggestions or what we should do. So I want to have Kevin to continue with his video, and if there's any more questions, we'll be glad to answer those questions.
Could I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
You know, there's something that kind of bothered me, and ordinarily I'm filling in for somebody, and I don't. At first, I was like, let me just be status quo, but you know what? I'm here, so I might as well speak my mind on this. So we all live in neighborhoods, and neighborhoods are made up of people. People make up cities, towns, states. So I would encourage each and every one of you. I know I'm not living in your neighborhood, per se, and I don't know who your neighbors are. But I think it's kind of important for us to reach out and contact our neighbors and get to know them. Because when the 4th of July comes around, they already know your stance on fireworks. Hey, Ben, hey, Bill, you know, I don't really like illegal fireworks. So we all have to be part of this solution. It just can't be the police department and the fire department. You guys are in these neighborhoods living with these people, and it terrifies me that this the young lady, pretty young lady, she said, you know, we have to live with these people. I want to be anonymous. And I'm a realist, I get it, but it's just sad to me that we can't go talk to our neighbors, and we have to be anonymous and be terrified to say something to them. I would just ask each and every one of you to go to your neighbors and get to know your neighbors a little bit better. Maybe that might be part of the problem and part of the solution. I don't know. I just felt like it was on my heart and I needed to say it. So there you go.
guys something that's pretty gruesome, but it fits. So basically, it's only certain amount of investigators. When I say investigators, the fire and the cop side, there's only a certain amount of people that's actually out there to patrol. So when we get pretty legit calls, and when I say legit calls, fires, burns, big injuries, pretty much our resources go from patrolling the streets to focus on this investigation. So I'll show you guys one investigation that we had. Yeah. Can you blow it up? Just so basically, this guy was making a bomb and blew his hand off. So basically, I went from patrolling to now investigating the crime scene. So we pretty much took all the resources from picking up fireworks, sighting fireworks, to pretty much going here. So this is, I think his his right hand. So this is just a piece of his finger. This was, I think, on the ground. So as we walked in, this pretty much was a blood trail to his garage. The explosion blew out the glass in the dryer. And you see the blood splatter. And this is just a firework. He was making a firework inside his garage. And this is a piece of his thumb.
While Kevin's doing that, forgive him, but he just had wrist surgery, so he's using his other hand. He just had surgery yesterday, so thanks for coming. Was it? So, yeah. It wasn't illegal. Don't worry, you're safe. It was not safe and sane. But I think he makes a good point, though, and I'll get out of your way in a second. He makes a good point, though, that every time there is something of significance, it takes most of the team as the rest of the city's going up, like Beirut, I heard. And so it's a rock in the ocean when it comes to the enforcement side of things. That's just the reality of it. You see it, and this is the problem we deal with. We get to a call, we get 10 calls in the neighborhood, we go, it's 50 people in a block, and who do you cite, right? Because everybody wants to be anonymous, and I get it, but it's a cultural shift that needs to happen. We talked about education, and whether it's vendors, whether it's safe and sane, whether it's illegal, the bottom line is, it needs to take a cultural shift within this community, and talking to our neighbors and deciding within our community that, man, it's just, we need to change things. And I tell you, I've worked the last several 4th of Julys. Every fire department in this county was in the Rialto last year. We had fire engines from Rancho Cucamonga to Yucaipa in Rialto. This wasn't happening everywhere else. And so we as a community need to change our culture. And I'm not sure exactly what that's going to take, because we need all your input and we need the commission to make some suggestions. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
So this is just another picture. So I'll give you the background. We're just doing firework patrol like normal, and we get a call for a burn patient. This is from the fire department. So the cops are there, the fire department is there, and obviously since we have a burn injury, now the investigators are there. So across the street from our house, a guy was lighting fireworks. It caught the dry brush, the grass across the street on fire, along with to her. She had a shirt on, and obviously when it fell down, it burned her chest. So this is the address, but obviously this is what he was doing in front of his house. This is just the fireworks he had. So by the time I got there, which was way late, there was no fireworks to be found except for this. So obviously, hey, I know you're doing fireworks. I know you took them. Where are they? They're in the house. They hit them. So we brought them back out. This is just a small spot across the street that ended up catching fire. And this is the house where the girl was standing, maybe 300 feet away. So this is one of the cases. It's after the fact. Obviously, so this is just me doing the report. This is the name of the person, and this is just a picture for the district attorney. Same thing. They were just making a bottle bomb. So I'll give you guys just a little background for those who didn't make the meetings before. So months before, there's a task force. Consists of Palm Springs, Redlands, Ontario, Chino. We all get together monthly. And we discuss what we're going to do for the fireworks. And everybody, for the most part, every city patrols. That's a given. How many investigators they have is up to this certain city, but everybody patrols. So we go to Yermo. We just takes turns. We go to Yermo. If you guys don't know where Yermo is, it's pretty much going to Vegas. And then we try and stop as many vehicles as we can coming in. We get a lot, but we also miss a lot. It is what it is. So months prior to the 4th, the city of Rialto, we start doing the stings. The Facebook, the Instagram, who's selling, who's buying, and we do the search warrants. We team up with PD, and that's the way we go. Maybe a couple weeks prior to the 4th, we hang banners. The Rialto broadcast it. We hang banners on every station, along with little grass flyers. We pass flyers out. Big boards, as many advertisements as we can. That's the education part on not doing fireworks. And as soon as fireworks go on sale, we start our patrols. We go around, we talk to the booth. Have you guys seen anybody selling fireworks? We drive around the city. We talk to anybody we can. We have a hotline here in the city where people can call, and we're responding to hotline. My neighbor's doing fireworks. And we go. And then, obviously, on the 4th of July, all hell breaks loose, and we're everywhere. Like I said, I've been doing this for the last 10 years, and it's a nightmare. I hate it. I really do. I wish it would stop, because it takes away from what I want to do, and obviously it's not working. Or spending time not investigating or writing reports, because it's a lot. I'll investigate, I'll work maybe 7 days before and after the 4th. And that's a lot of paperwork that I have to do, doing the illegal fireworks. Like my chief said, I'm not swaying one way or the other. I wish they would stop altogether, because it's a lot for the city. It's a lot. It's a lot for us. And like I said, I've been doing it for the last 10 years and haven't even put a dent in it. That's all I got.
No, and again, just want to reiterate, we agree with obviously much what you said. The adjudication process is extremely frustrating with the amount of man hours that goes into every citation, and to see the final product after the court process. We could not be more frustrated with that than anybody, because you do all the work, you try to levy fines against, you try to, prevent this stuff, and at the end of the day, the fines don't match the crimes. And so I just made that up. But they just don't. They just don't. I got an email last week from the city attorneys. Hey, we had a guy that not even show up, right? Do I go after him? I'm like, yeah, we have to. We can't just let him walk away because he didn't show up. And the city is going to eat it on that, because we can't just let people not show up to court and oh, well, I guess we quit. But this is the problem. And so we're hopeful that the community, the commission, can have some suggestions on how much we put forth on enforcement versus prevention and education, because that's a balance that we have to figure out, and we do our best every year. We've tried, the gentleman left, but we've tried different staffing models. We've tried different fine levels. We do social host fines now, like Chino does. We do different things. We do drone. We're trying to crack the nut here with every available option, and we need your help, and we need help of the community, and hopefully the commission has got enough information and that we get some feedback from the polls that we can make a solid recommendation to council to try and put a crack on this, because at the end of the day, I certainly support the needs of what the nonprofits are trying to accomplish. I certainly support the needs of people wanting to go out and have fun on 4th of July. But I also support, Mrs. Smith having her dog being scared too. And I'm not saying those are competing interests. I'm just saying we have a problem in the city and we need to fix it. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Barbara.
I have a few suggestions. Not all that can be put out at a city council meeting, but anyhow, I think we may have talked afterwards about Chino. I know we're dealing with Rialto, but I sold in Chino for a number of years, and they were you able to talk to the fire chief and ask them how they use the 10% extra that the city charges? I was told when I was selling there that the city collects 10% on our base. So the city gets that. And each year, depending on how many tickets they wrote and how many illegal fireworks citations they wrote, that would offset. And of the 7 or 8 years that I sold in Chino with the organization I was with at the time, there was only 1 year I didn't get like 80% of my money back that went back to the group because they wrote those citations. So I don't know if that's something that can transfer out here to Rialto. And also, wow, my train just went off. I would pay pay-per-view to watch them blow up all the stuff that they collect. So that's another money. I mean, that's more money coming in. I bet most people in here would order the pay-per-view to watch them detonate 10,000 pounds of fireworks. Maybe it's just me.
I said the same thing last year. We should take all our honor students and take them out and let them watch them do it, just as a reward.
We got plenty of desert. And what was that last one? Oh, the fine. I mean, you guys have an awesome drone program. I'd love to see it grow even. With the mapping and everything that's on the drone, you can pinpoint the address, right?
Yes.
And can that fine, is there a way to legislate or I don't even know the right word. I'm a mechanic. Is there a way to just, oh, look, fireworks right here. This is the address, $1,000 fine. So on your property tax. I mean, you start issuing that onto your property tax, now the state's collecting, stuff like that. It's things like that that's probably why Chino Hills is pretty quiet, is because for the last 10 or 12 years, they've hit people hard. You hit them in the pocketbook, they're going to stand up and listen. But unfortunately, that might hit us in the pocketbook also.
No, thank you.
In regards to your signage, I think it's effective when it's below the 210, but above the 210, there's not a lot of businesses or areas where you can affect large signage. One suggestion I would have is make a more effective sign and put it at strategic entrances to the communities so that people see it coming in and out, like on Riverside Avenue. We do this with the Toy and Food Drive when we do it up there on the north end. We hit all the strategic ins and outs, so people are seeing this on a daily basis, and our signs are big enough to be taken notice. At most, I've only seen the grass signs in the north side of the city, and people look at those and go, somebody's running for something. Somebody's running for council, somebody's running for mayor. So they tend to ignore those grass signs. So is that a possibility at all?
So I know I promised not to say it again, but agree to agree. The city has more electronic billboards now than ever before, and that is 100% in the plans. We also recently purchased 4 mobile electronic billboard signs through different city departments that we plan to utilize to hit every city entrance to meet your needs. So we're right with you on that. Thank you.
I would just like to say, I know this has been addressed in one way or another already, but I think we should focus more on the illegal fireworks than the safe and sane, because if safe and sane goes away this year, the illegal fireworks is still going to be there. The task force, you're all going to still have the same problems, the same workload. When I go home after closing the fireworks booth, I'm still going to hear the bombs going off that people describe as a war zone. And pets are still going to be freaking out. And if if you close us down this year, for instance, it's still going to happen, and we're just going to be out our money, and it's not. I don't think it's going to solve anything, and that's just my thought.
You know, I promised KB that I wouldn't be too draconian and behave myself, but how about taking a picture of that dummy's hand and putting it up on your electronic billboard?
The one behind you or the one?
As far as resources go, would a possible solution, because I know people is one of the resources, is there anything that like a volunteer group or some getting people to come out and help you? Is there anything that you could do or use the community for of a volunteer group maybe from these nonprofits or from the people that are complaining about the illegal fireworks?
So I'm going to take that down like I've taken all the information and present it. Just off the top of my head, you know, we have a hard time just getting our investigators protected right now. I mean, Kevin, what year? Was it last year you were ducking for cover and I heard gunshots, right? And so that's our armed investigators. So there's a liability there with our volunteer group. And typically our volunteer group is at a specific age. So, and I say on both ends of that. So we have explorer groups that we utilize as often as we can. We have community emergency response teams, CERT groups that are teachers or concerned citizens that we put out there. But when it comes to phone taking and helping with signage and things like that, yes, but it is a dangerous business. And if you had heard Kevin's voice on the radio last year, he hit a whole new octave when there was shots fired. And so, you know, we would have I see some potential problems there. In support roles, absolutely.
Yes, something that I wanted to toss up to you. All the schools now are having digital monitors in front of the schools. Is there any way to get our message through some of these visuals that are at the schools with the parents, with the children, to use only safe and sane and stay away from the illegals? I mean, every one of these schools now have a digital like done. It says welcome, you know. They announce that there's no school or half day, or, you know, that information's out there almost every day. Is there a way to get our information to please use safe and sane and not to use it illegal?
Reach out to
just an avenue that we might, you know, attach to.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
Just one more thing. It's nice to be able to get to know your neighbors, but a lot of them are the ones that you duck and cover for. So,
believe me, I get it.
We've met them.
I get it. But it just seems to me that far too often we kind of sequester ourselves in our own houses, and I'm not so sure we make the effort that we could to get to know our neighbors. I'm just throwing that out there. You know, everybody's circumstance or neighborhood is different. I would just encourage you to get to know your neighbors, and the people that are lighting the fireworks. They might not be that bad at all. You might just need to tell them, I'm not really cool with you lighting off fireworks. I mean, I don't have the answers to all the problems here. I'm sure there's a lot more smarter, is that a word? Smart. There's a lot more people with a lot more smarts sitting in the audience right now than me. So I just think that's one avenue, is us sitting down and getting with our neighbors, because we only got so many police officers over here and we only got so many firefighters. And we're not going to be able to arrest our way out of this situation.
All right, so again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I certainly appreciate the civility and the suggestions, and even some of the angst that comes with losing or you know, the things you have going with the nonprofits. I appreciate that, and I know that this is a battle for all of us. But again, I think I heard this gentleman here say we're all in it together. I mean, we are, and we all have a common enemy, and it's the illegal fireworks. It's the fireworks that cause the impact, and how those are parsed out, I can't say with 100% certainty. I've heard people in here say they used to make the illegal fireworks themselves, who are now selling them. So I heard you last time. So that was your dad. And so, so again, appreciate everyone coming out. We'll continue to gather the information. Anything that we didn't have for tonight, we'll get back to the commission like we have with the answers. And with that, we thank you again, and we look forward to the survey. If you haven't done the online survey, please do so. We will be updating social media websites and ramping up for this year again. So thank you.
Yes, and I want to say thank you as well. But if you have any more suggestions or questions or other concerns, you can email them to Brian, the fire department, or you can email them to the city clerk's office. So if it's any more suggestions that we did not, that you didn't share with us today, or the questions that we did not answer, please do so. Thank you.
Tell your friends about the online.